Welcome into episode 5 of FlingGolf Theory. I am your host, Tim Durr, and as you can see, I am not out on the course today. Instead, I'm sitting in the studio where I record Future of the Fairway episodes, and I'm helping to guest host with Adam. So I've seen a lot of you guys asking, especially with the rankings coming out recently, a lot of people on the FlingGolf Players Facebook page and just elsewhere kind of saying, hey, how do I get ranked? What do I need to do to become a ranked player? So in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about the logistics and the actual qualifications that you need to meet to call yourself a professional fling golfer. And then I'm also going to kind of talk about your scoring expectations that you should focus on, depending which division you're competing in, that will help you to get to a place where you can get a ranking. So like I said, we'll start with the logistics, then we'll get into some scoring things on this episode of FlingGolf Theory. Now let's get into the logistics of what you need to call yourself a professional fling golf player. So you can accomplish this one of two ways. The most direct way to become a professional player is to make the finals in a World League FlingGolf national event, finish in the top 10, and earn some money. Getting a paycheck means that you're a professional. Now, the more conventional way is to compete in 3 WLF events and earn yourself a ranking. So what you need to do here is go to flinggolf.com, click on the WLF page, and check out when the next upcoming events are. For this season, we're already through 3 of the 5 events, just completing the Keystone Classic about a week ago. So you have San Diego in September, and then the Virginia Fling Golf Open in October. So those are the final 2 events for this year. And if you're somebody who's new to the sport, it's worth going to an event this season and then making that decision if you'll try to be more of a full-time player next season. There's also a chance that these criteria are increased as more events have been played. The Keystone Classic was the 10th national WLF event. And so right now it's kind of those 3, but it likely could expand to you must compete in at least 5 events. It's definitely a moving and growing criteria. But if you get to 3 events and you play well, you have a very good chance of being ranked as a professional fling golf player. All right, now let's go into some metrics that you should consider to say, where do I stack up? Am I playing good enough fling golf that I could get a top 25 ranking? So if you look at the finishing positions for the Keystone Classic in Pennsylvania, we'll start with the men's division. You probably need to shoot within about 10 strokes of par to have a chance to break that top 25. And now that is under tournament pressure when your best rounds usually go up 4 or 5 strokes. You know, when I play at the local course out here, I can play close to even par, maybe 1 or 2 over. Go to an event, I'm more in that kind of 5 to 8 range most of the time, and I'm currently the number 17 ranked player. So if you look at that and you see, hey, how am I playing on a course that you're likely somewhat unfamiliar with? For the majority of us, we're going to these events and it's a course we've never played before, or we haven't played since last year, or we've only played a handful of times. So you're going to a course, probably getting 1 or 2 practice rounds in the days leading up to the event, and then you're going out there under tournament pressure and trying to shoot within 10 strokes of par. Now, if you can do that, you give yourself a pretty good chance to get a ranking. That's also playing from a distance between 5,500 and 6,500 yards, so somewhere in the 6,000 range. So if you're playing on your local course and it's a lot shorter than that, it might not be a one-to-one of how you're going to play out there. So those are some things to really keep in mind, no matter what division you're playing in, that you want to factor into how you're going to compete. But by no means, if you're shooting 15 over, 20 over, this is not meant to dissuade you. This is just letting you know that if you do play in a WLF event, it is currently an open format, and just because you competed does not qualify you as a professional player. You must compete in 3 events or make a finals and earn money and get ranked, because you can compete in 3 events, not finish high enough, and then you would not be a ranked player if you don't get enough points per event to find yourself qualified in that top 25. But you can check all of this out on flinggolf.com. Next, let's talk about what you need to compete in the women's division. And so if you're hoping to be ranked, you probably need to score in the 90s in the women's division, and the top women are scoring once again within about 10 strokes of par, sometimes fewer. They're usually in the low 80s, depending on the course, maybe mid 80s. But you're probably going to need to shoot in the 90s to really be confident that you'll get a top 10 ranking in the women's division. And if ladies, if you're out there, if you're thinking about being interested in fling golf, we do have probably 15 to 20 regular competitors in the women's division. But that in the Masters division, we are looking to grow. We're looking to expand. I mean, right now at these events, we're having 40 or 50 men sometimes, and then we have that kind of 15 to 20 women, and then that kind of 10 to 15 in the Masters division. So if you're over 55 or if you're a woman, we would love to get you out there on the course, and there's a great opportunity for you to become a ranked player and be competitive in the game. So it is worth dedicating that time, coming out to some events and seeing how you stack up. No matter what age, gender, whatever you got going on, we want you to come out. But there is a little bit of, not an easier road, but those fields are a little bit smaller, so you can really get in there now before they grow and blow up even more to be competitive in both of those divisions. Let's move to the Masters division. So the Masters division is 55 and older in that calendar year. So if your birthday is December 31st, 2024, and on that day you turn 55, even though you're 54 for 364 days out of that year, because your birthday is before that cutoff of January 1st, you are able to compete in the Masters division all season. And so I'll say that again. 55 years old, within the calendar year 2024, you're eligible to play in the Masters division right now. And so what is different between the men's and Masters division? Really, it's just yardage. The Masters division playing probably 20 to 30 yards closer on the majority of holes. So for our players there who are wise, aged, it just gives them more of a fair distance to throw and have their chances at their Reggies and getting their greens in regulation and having the opportunity to really score like they should be and not be at that advantage because they're not throwing quite as far as some of us younger guys out there. So those are the three divisions. That's kind of where I see everything stacking up as far as being qualified to get ranked in each of those. Like I said, we'll recap. Men's, you got to be within 10 strokes of par to get qualified. The top couple players, if you look at Showtime and Scantron, they're shooting net under par, and Showtime just shot gross under par for the first time in an individual event. So you got to be right near par if you want to compete for wins. But if you want to be competitive at all, within 10 strokes is going to give you a decent chance to be top 25, but those scores are dropping. It is getting more and more competitive, and in fling golf right now, between like 3rd, 4th, 5th, all the way down to 20th, if somebody has a good day, those rankings can be jumbled up. So there's a lot of competition in kind of the top middle of the pack out there. So get out there, keep working on your game, show up and compete in an event. If you're a woman looking to compete in the women's division, 10 to 15 strokes of par are kind of those top scores, even better than that. If you shoot under 100, you're going to go out there, you're going to be competitive, and you're going to have a pretty good day, and you can kind of hang with that kind of 8 to 10 range in the women's game right now. So plenty of opportunities in the women's division. The Masters division, 55 and older, also need to probably be within about 10 strokes of par. But those guys at the top, they are shooting 1, 2, 3 over. They are very competitive. And so if you're over 55, get out there, see if you can get ranked. That is our smallest field right now. And so there's a lot of opportunity for the 55 plus age demographic to get out there and have an opportunity to get ranked after competing in those 3 events. To go a little bit more in depth, now I want to show you how the top players finished in the Keystone Classic. First, we'll look at the men's division. And as you can see, Austin Ebersol, Showtime, shot 1 under gross and a 3 under net. So he had 2 Reggies, meaning that on 2 of the par 3s, he stuck the green on his first shot and then converted by making a par or better. You look at the rest of these guys, this is how they finished in the qualifiers. So Island Hopper Jake Anderson was 2 over in second place. We had a couple people at 1 over. They dropped a bit in the finals,
But as you see, looking through these scores, there are a lot of people between 1 and 5 strokes over. As we scroll down a little bit more, you see right here, we're kind of in this 25 range at plus 10. So you need to finish in the top 25 consistently if you want to have an opportunity to make the final. And so in the men's division, that plus 10 is where you need to be for a top 25 showing. I'll scroll over here and show you the finals, and you see 4 under net, 107 gross. So the finals is 9 additional holes that we all play. Those of us who qualified, there were 16 who advanced here. And you see we range from 4 under to 12 over on the day, and that is through 27 holes of golf. So you got to be consistent. You got to be ready to play under the current rules. 27 holes in one day if you're in that kind of top 10 to 15 range. Moving over to the women's division, you can see Krista Smith, birdie of prey. She shot 8 over in the qualifying 18 holes. She had the best score, but it was very tight. 9 over, 10 over in that 13 to 15 range. And you look kind of like I said earlier in the video. If you shoot in the 90s, you have a chance to be in that top 10. Low 100s, you're hanging with the majority of the field. So that is kind of for the women's division. And then as you look through and you see how things went in the final holes, plus 10 won it, plus 14, plus 19, kind of in that range is where you need to be in the women's division to have an opportunity to compete and win. Masters division, you can see these guys played extremely well. SVL gets the win, plus 3 net, plus 4 gross. So without Reggie, he shot 4 over on those 18 holes. And as you can see, there's some good green numbers in there for some birdies, a couple bogeys, but a really solid round of golf. And I mean, when you look at those top 5 or 6 guys, that's kind of where they were all at. They were in that plus 3 to plus 8 range. So if you're plus 10, you'll be kind of right there in that next tier, somewhere in the 7 to 10 range in the Masters division. But as you can see, kind of those top 5 or 6 guys played very well throughout the day, and they hung in there. And that carried over as we look at the finals. I mean, you look at those top 3 guys, SVL, Sean Van Lanker, Tab Thompson, and Greg Arndt. Those guys all shot even par net in the finals to come out 1, 2, 3 and play an absolutely awesome full 27 holes, but especially those final 9. So that's what you need to do if you want to be a competitive World League FlingGolf player and get yourself a ranking.